So I would like today to conclude what I call the capitals, but not in capital city, but capacity at an individual, community, and national level to build. We started with cultural capital, and we said cultural capital builds the customs, or is founded on the customs, on behaviors, on traits that are good to every society, that each of us communities would like to reproduce and keep for the next generation and drop the negative ones. These are values on marriage, on relationships, on gratitudinous. A sense of gratitudinous is expressed differently in each community. On chastity, on chivalry. These are things that really are carried by the culture of a society. And like I said at the beginning, those who keep them are like movie makers. They write the script of the next society. So we said cultural capital often gives you a better setting ground for spiritual capital. And we said spiritual capital, what does it give you? The tenderness of heart to deal with issues of the world. The humility with which you approach life. Spiritual capital tells you that you are not the center of the universe, or at least it teaches you that. You're not everything. Don't puff up because you don't create life. Today you're here, tomorrow you're gone. That spiritual reality is important to teach you to fear God, to fear your parents, to respect. I think the word is actually reverence, not fear of running away. It's respect of elders, respect of someone who's older than you. It doesn't mean that you are not smarter, maybe you might be, but the fact of them being older, they know a thing or two that you may not know. So respect of parents, respect of teachers, respect of the social structures that have kept us together, often that comes from observing the strength of the spiritual capital that you have, which you understand or easily remember. We said the kernel and the husk. The husk is the culture. The kernel is the real you, the message, the seed. Now, so the spiritual capital removes, this is very important, the tendency, especially in Christianity, to confuse Christianity with westernization. In other words, that to be a good Christian, you have to be a good European or American. That's why you see people changing accents or acting strangely. That confusion of Christianity and westernization, I think somehow builds extremism, because often Western civilization, especially in our time, has become decadent, like the old Roman civilization. That sense of decadence that people see in dress, in food, in behavior, and the tendency to put 100% on the physical reality, the wealth that we see, often makes some Christians either extreme, that they don't want to deal with the world, or we are not able to convince other religions because we're acting as Westerners, not as true Christians. So how do you convince me to abandon my culture, which is the husk, and take your seed, really, which would change me, unless you separate the two? You show that you know where I come from, you understand both my cultural constraints and my strength, and convince me to follow you, whether in faith or in social movements or political movements or growing a young economy. And let me tell you, especially you Christians, younger people who confuse westernization with Christianity, Jesus was a noble. He expressed the highest sense of nobility. He was a gentleman. When you read the Gospels, really, and the letters of Paul, you don't find a sense of extravagance. He lived in an agrarian society, and his examples were basic. And he didn't say become Catholic, become Anglican, become Muslim, become... No. He preached three radical things which still resonate today in the spiritual world, in the culture world, in the economy world. He said, you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's radical love. In other words, what you wish for yourself, wish it for your neighbor. Just imagine if all of us did that. Our streets would not have garbage. There wouldn't be litter in front of our homes. There wouldn't be jumping queues, whether it's in banks or restaurants, and there would be stewardship of national resources so that they can help each one of us. That's what Jesus taught us. Second thing, he said, love your enemy. Very interesting. If you love only your friends, okay, what new thing have you done? Radical love is to say, I know you're my enemy, but I'm going to win you over by not acting crudely, not doing things weirdly. And we have seen some people who have led nations that way. Nelson Mandela loved his enemy more than the enemy ever wanted to love him back. Mahatma Gandhi, we know that in India, who led India to independence. Martin Luther King Jr. is remembered more than some fiery fighters who were good too, like Malcolm X, but their history is not told as strongly by that society as Martin Luther King Jr. because they demonstrated Jesus' love in their own cultures. And Jesus also taught about eternity. And this is very interesting to me, young people. Not all the reality you see is all that there is in the world. Because the reality you see, the plants, the vehicles, the buildings, are created by someone or something higher than what is created. So the creator is more important than the created. In other words, he or she who writes the manual for this camera actually is more important than this camera. They can write more manuals. So I want to encourage you young people to know that there is such a reality called spiritual reality. Just because you don't see a thing, it doesn't mean it's not there. Now, just because a thing is objective reality, it doesn't make it the only reality in life. I'm not being philosophical, but I just want you to grow up, to know there is more to life than the material world. God be with you. Have a great weekend.
I'd like to hear from you. Please email us at info@tapmedia.com and visit our website at www.tapmedia.com. You can also visit our offices located at Tomosi Business Park, Luzira, Port Bell Road, or call 0414 220 702. Thank you.